The internal word within World Wrestling Entertainment is they are done with the brand split. There are no longer any restrictions, any limitations on roster moves between brands. To which BC said, there was restrictions and limitations to begin with? Because I can't remember any time a wrestler jumped ship and they actually cared enough to give us an excuse. A reasoning behind it. That commentators cared enough to tell us why this person was there instead of, oh, Naomi is here. She's from SmackDown. Hey, it's Jey Uso. He's usually on Raw. Good observation, guys. Thank you, Michael Cole. Thank you, Joe Tessitore. Thank you, Wade Barrett. Thank you, Corey Graves. We understand. Why is Nick Aldis not batting an eyelash? Why is Adam Pearce just walking right by these SmackDown stars and going, hey, take all the time you need tonight on my show? Why? We'll talk all about it. The brand split is done in WWE. Also, in today's Amped Up show, we're going to talk to AEW women's roster talent stepping away from AEW. One of them with a huge asterisk. The other one is literally stepping away for a while. Two females saying deuces to Tony Khan. We'll talk about that. I have the SmackDown preview for you guys for tonight's big show, 1 week away from the Survivor Series. So this should be, I'm hoping, they had a decent show last week. I'm hoping this one carries momentum. So I have the SmackDown preview. We'll go over what they have in store for us tonight. And Mox. This is so great to hear. This is one of the locker room leaders in AEW. It's one of the dudes that Tony Khan trusts the most. And it's one of the dudes that has really carried AEW on his back. He gets the most flack, or some of the biggest flack from fans. A lot of fans just don't really... Everything Mox does, it seems to me, met with such criticism. It's almost like everything he does, it's just not working for the fan base. But what you have to realize is every single time that he was asked to carry the weight that AEW unfortunately had to carry, it was Mox who put it on his back. And I went over many times how Mox has done that for this company. So for him to say what we're about to go over, I'll give you guys an exact quote. It is powerful. If you guys are wondering why AEW is failing big time right now, why they're at kind of the lowest they've ever been, Mox gives you exactly why. He tells you with the utmost amplified truth. And if you've heard that before, what we're about to go over, it's because BC has been saying it for months. He's just echoing the same words with a different twist. But it's everything I've been telling you guys, my audience, who I will never BS. I will never sugarcoat on this channel, no matter at what cost. I will always make sure you guys are getting the blunt, candid, amplified honesty and truth. And Mox is backing that up. And I am very appreciative of that. Because the single biggest reason they are failing, you would have to start at the foundation of the failure. And after seeing this product firsthand this past Wednesday, being able to catch a live Dynamite, BC is echoing the same words I first started presenting to you guys months ago. We'll go over what Mox is saying, which is the same thing BC has been saying. It is so true, and that's where Tony Khan needs to start. Listen to these words and go, yup, that's where we screwed up. Yup, let's take a step back, or many steps. It's all coming up in today's Amped Up show, Friday, November 22nd, 2024. I, of course, will be your host, as always, BC. There's not going to be any taking you guys to the opening signature. We're not going to take a timeout so I can get some more coffee. We're going to jump right into it. There's a lot to go over, little time to do it. We'll start off with the brand split from World Wrestling Entertainment. There are no more limitations placed on roster moves between the brands, Raw to SmackDown and vice versa, to which BC said, there was limitations before? Because the way they have ran this brand split from the jump, it's absolute anarchy. You can show up in full gear as a Raw star on SmackDown and Nick Aldis won't blink an eye. You could show up as a SmackDown star to Raw and Adam Pearce would walk right by you. You could hog the whole main event slot, 15 minutes to end the show as a SmackDown star, and Adam Pearce is like, that was good. Do you gotta go back to SmackDown? There's never been a real brand split. You never felt like it was a real thing because it was never governed. It was never upheld. And it's a shame because if you're going to do a brand split, if done correctly, you could set up a really good brand versus brand war for something like Survivor Series, for a match like War Games. Because I gotta be honest with you, when they used to do these brand wars in the past, not all the time were they epic, but a lot of the times, it's pretty fun. A lot more fun than the weird storytelling we've been getting with the Bloodline versus Bloodline. At times, it's okay, maybe even decent to good. Most weeks, what are we doing? How long are we going to try to find the fifth man, which ended up just being Bronson last week and most likely Seth Rollins this week? Because it does not look like Paul Heyman will play the factor in getting somebody like a Punk or a Lesnar. Looks like they're going to play it really safe and bring in Sethington. That's another conversation for another day that we've already had in the past. We'll most likely have plenty times going forward. But the news here is that internal word within the company, within WWE, is that from here on out, so not just starting around Rumble for WrestleMania season, but from here on out, there are no more restrictions placed on the brand split, on the rosters. There never really was, though. So all this is telling us is that now more than ever, you're going to start to see wrestlers flip-flopping from brands, and Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis won't bat an eyelash. They won't blink. They won't even ask these wrestlers what they're doing there. Commentators will not tell us or give us a reason or an excuse. They'll just say, hey, look at that. It's Naomi on Raw. Look at that. Jey Uso is on SmackDown. So that's the news we're getting. Internally, they're no longer even like thinking, wait, this doesn't make sense, Hunter. What about the brand split? They're not even saying that anymore. Now it's just, okay, we need this person for this segment. I don't even care about the show. Just make sure they're there on Monday night. I don't like that at all. If you're going to say you have a brand split, honor it, uphold it, and then make it something special. You try to divide your brands, but only when it suits you, right? When it's convenient for you, you just pluck them from whatever show, and you don't even have the time. You don't even have the time to think of something creatively as to why they would be on a different show to tell your audience. I can't stand that. I understand it's a microwave society and fans are constantly on to the next anyway, and that's what Hunter and everybody within the walls of WWE is banking on. You won't ask questions, or at least, bare minimum, you won't remember it in an hour. That's what they're hoping. But there's a lot of fans still out there like BC that wants everything to make sense so that we can fully invest in it. Make it make sense. That's what we're asking. You have a roster brand split, but people just show up whenever they want, wherever they want, and take how much time they want on these shows. Moving on to AEW. 2 female talents, 2 stars on the women's roster of All Elite Wrestling, taking a step away from the company. One of them with a huge asterisk, right? And that is, of course, Toni Storm. A lot. I am actually amazed at how many people actually believe Toni Storm has retired from professional wrestling, because that's the story right now. That's the story in the headlines you're reading everywhere. And a lot of fans are like, no, I think this is real. A lot of reputable sites are picking it up and going, this sounds legit. Sports Illustrated is covering it like it's the real thing. And BC, hate to be the bearer of bad news here, And I hate to spoil this for you. It's a storyline, guys. Taking a step away, that might be. However long they want to drag this out, keep her away for a few weeks, a few months, who knows. But it's a storyline. Toni Storm is not retiring from professional wrestling. She has not left AEW. Time off is a different thing. Storyline, she has retired. She has literally said she has retired. It's a storyline. So believe what you want to believe. Don't take my word for it if you don't want to. If it sounds really, really like this is a real thing, BC, I'm gonna wait and see, man. Much love, much respect. Usually you're right, but I don't know. This sounds pretty legit. Then do your thing, man. But just remember these words on this amped up load, that it's a storyline. So very well done. We'll see where it leads to. Right? Toni Storm has been firing on all cylinders for over a year now in that company. You guys remember, it seems like yesterday she was getting a pie in the face in WWE, right? That's how they were booking her. Charlie Flair putting a pie in her face. And it was at that moment she's like, what am I doing? So it was at that moment the plan was in motion just to get out of there. She goes over to AEW and hey, man, she became something really cool, really special. So this retirement thing, it's working. It's creating all this buzz. But I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. I mean, we're starting to get away from what is actually storyline. We're starting to muddy those waters. So a lot of people are really concerned, and they're like, "Why? Why, Toni? Why now? You were doing so good. You had all this momentum. Relax. It's a storyline, man. You ain't got to get that like, whoa, no, not Toni." Now, the second name I'm about to go over, she's actually taking a step away. Not for good. But it is Saraya, formerly known as Paige from WWE. Saraya is taking time away from AEW. She has sent out a statement saying, this is a good time. I am taking a breath now, doing other things that I haven't been able to do. So now is the time where I'm just going to step away. That's her exact quote, stepping away. So we wish her all the best. We do expect her to come back. There is a lot of time still left on her contract. There is not an injury that we are aware of. It's just like she said. She has things she wants to do. I think that's the general feel in that locker room right now. It's like there's not a high morale. There's some people that are really trying. They're trying to get that morale. They're trying to manufacture it. But morale has to come naturally first. The foundation of morale comes naturally. You can manufacture around it, right? The facade of it you can manufacture. But the nucleus has to be natural. It has to be organic. And right now it's not in AEW, right? And we're not just talking like Miro status, right? Miro's been sitting at home with lack of and low morale for the longest time. He asked for his AEW release months ago. But Tony Khan is just going to have him sit home. No, it's not that type. But it is the type where, like, I don't even feel this like, need to be there on Wednesday night. I'd much rather start doing other, right? Britt Baker, you started to get that feeling from Britt Baker, and she was the pillar, right? She was the pillar, man. She was the face of the women's division, one of the faces of the company when they started. But Britt Baker, you started to see she no longer really cared to be there. That's the feeling you get. Saraya, same thing. People honestly believe Toni Storm is actually retiring. I think she just wants some time off as well. So Toni Storm is not retiring. This is going to be part of a storyline. Saraya is up in the air. You can see creatively they don't know what to do with her. You could see morale-wise she's just not fully there, and that's why she wants to take care of other things and just step away. So take it for what it is, guys. The women's division in AEW is in flux, for sure. It ain't that much better in WWE with all the talent that both companies have. Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Tony Khan need to get together and figure out a way on how to book women properly. Black and Gold, Hunter was freaking pretty good at it, right? But he had the William Regals and the Dusty Rhodeses and all these other masterminds. By himself, Hunter Hearst Helmsley is lost with his women. And Tony Khan, I mean, we're just getting word that there might be a second women's match at Full Gear. Yay! There you go. Just 2 days, 1 day before the big event. Let's just throw another women's match just to make it look like we have more than one women's match. And I don't even know. It's like Anna Jay versus somebody else. I don't even know what they're rushing. That's what I mean. It's lack of care or negligence or just incompetence, right, on how to book women properly. So the morale from top to bottom in that company seems to be low, but for the women especially, it's almost like they know they're in flux and it's now or never. Give us good booking or it's bust. We have the roster, right? AEW has the roster. I don't know what to do with it. So that's two names on the female side of AEW catching a lot of headlines this morning. SmackDown's preview for tonight. This is 1 week from Survivor Series. They had a decent show, even good at times last week. I'm really hoping they carry that momentum. Not just tonight, next week's go-home show and straight into Survivor Series and coming out of Survivor Series. Don't just phone it in because it's the holidays. They have a bunch. They have a bunch of tape shows coming up, guys. You thought you got enough already? Like 6 or 7 tape shows already? There's another 3 or 4 coming. And that's all before January 6th debut of Raw on Netflix. So it's going to be a very low point several times going forward. So muster up all the momentum you possibly can, and that starts tonight. If you guys are wondering the card tonight, the big headline is Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens face-to-face. Owens, of course, telling everybody he will be there next week. Cody asked for it. He demanded it by Aldis. Aldis said absolutely not. Cody said it's either he comes here or we're going to have to take it out there. We'll go to Home Depot, Lowe's, the supermarket, and you don't want that. You don't want those headlines. Your world champion involved in a supermarket brawl, Booker T, Stone Cold status. No. Nick, do the right thing. Have Kevin Owens show up. So Kevin Owens is in his car, and he's like, I will be there next week. So here you go. Next week is this week. This week is tonight. Owens, Cody, face-to-face. If they're going to face each other next week at Survivor Series, you know, try to make this more interesting tonight than it was when they were friends facing each other 2 months ago. Was that Bash in Berlin where they're just friends and Cody's like, I pick you to face me for the title. And Owens is like, but I don't deserve it. And Cody's like, who cares? And they had a match and then they shook hands and they hugged each other. Hopefully it's a lot more interesting. And it all weighs down to what they're going to produce tonight. That's it. I'm on the fence with this whole Owens-Cody thing. I don't know. It's all weird to me. I feel they turned the wrong dude. It should have been Randy Orton. And then people say, well, Owens needed to turn too, so Randy will turn later, BC. Well, you're going to greatly reduce the importance of Randy's heel turn because Kevin Owens just turned before him. So yeah, I'm just absolutely in flux with that decision that they made. When Randy turns, which he should before Mania, I mean, the match sitting in their lap, unless they're doing like Rock and Cody, but I'm still not sold that they're actually doing that one-on-one. So just get Cody away from Roman or The Rock at that point and just do the Randy Orton-Cody storyline. Orton wins that title. He's tied up with... Well, would that be 15 for him? Or at least he gets closer to John Cena, who's doing his last year next year. He's going to try to get Ric Flair's record solely. They're tied at 16. But Orton getting the title from Cody makes way more sense and is way more impactful than The Rock showing up and winning that title. Absolutely not. The Rock should not show up and beat Cody for that title. That's stupid. And Roman Reigns just getting it back from Cody in a rubber match, a third Mania match between... No. It should have always been Randy. So now you're just diminishing, you're devaluing Randy's heel turn. I don't get the Kevin Owens heel turn. Hopefully tonight I'll feel much better about it, right? They have to have a really big, impactful segment tonight, an amplified segment between Cody and Kevin Owens. Get people like BC invested in this. Also tonight, the Women's U.S. title tournament, first round triple threat, Chelsea Green, Bianca Belair, and Blair Davenport. Bianca most likely will win this. I'm going Team Chelsea. Team Chelsea Green, man. All the momentum in the world from that dumpster match over a month ago. A gimmick match like that had so much headlines the next day, and not in a bad way, right? You're thinking we're all gonna just piss all over this garbage match, this dumpster match. Another poorly executed, dumbass WWE gimmick match. No, Chelsea and Mia Yim Meechin, man, they knocked it out of the park. And what did they do with that momentum? I haven't seen Meechin since, first of all. Maybe she's backstage getting beat up by some, I don't know. Not a prevalent part for sure. And Chelsea Green, you probably see her more on the side of a milk carton than on WWE television. As far as importance anyway. It's a shame they did nothing with all the momentum from that dumpster match. I got Chelsea Green tonight, even though it most likely probably going to do something with Bianca Belair. Watch Blair Davenport roll one of them up. Fruit roll up. Blair Davenport wins. Oh, the whole wrestling world's going, Blair who? Who? Blair? Davin Dunker? LA Knight responds to the Shinsuke attack from last week. That should be interesting. I like how Shinsuke came in right for the big dog LA Knight. Are they giving Shinsuke a title? Or is this going to be the next obstacle for LA Knight to overcome? And he will. But that was pretty cool last week. We'll see if they can keep that rising, man. You want to build on a story, not go backwards, right? You don't want to devalue your story as time goes on. You want to build it to build our suspense. It was well executed last week. How they follow that attack up this week with LA Knight and Shinsuke, man, that matters just as much as Shinsuke's return last week. We'll see what they have in store for LA Knight and Shinsuke. Also, we believe that there's internal word anyway, that there's going to be segments with Bronson Reed and the fifth man for Team Roman, Team OG. Women's War Games, there's going to be a segment dedicated to that. That's pretty obvious, so you can believe that. And there's a segment for the Street Profits, DIY, and Motor City. I do believe that reputable report as well because it makes the most sense. You have a 2-hour SmackDown. That was one of the biggest stories last week with the Profits losing. It was championship or bust. It was bust. But are they going to be okay with that? Or are the Street Profits going to take it to a whole nother level? Way more, way bigger, way higher than what we saw with them and Bobby Lashley. Interested to see if the Profits continue to have that character that they had last week, because I loved how they were presenting themselves last week. So that's SmackDown's preview as of this recording anyway. By the time you guys are catching this amped up show for this Friday, November 22nd, 2024, you might know even more that's planned for the show. But as of this recording, that's what I got for you guys. Now what I want to do is go into the... All right, I just had to actually pop up the rating too. NXT's rating this week was 640,000 viewers, guys. I asked you in yesterday's upload because I didn't have the number yet. It wasn't out while we were recording yesterday's amped upload. So I asked you guys to put it down into the comment section. I wasn't able to go through it, so I was interested, and you guys came through big time for me. 640,000. So it's exactly what I told you guys in yesterday's upload, wasn't it? I said they're most likely, or at least they're going to hope to at least sustain their average recently, which is about 625, 650. So I told you guys it would probably be around 625 to 675. Sure enough, 640. Obviously, that's not good, but we're not gonna kick a horse when it's down, man. Actually, you shouldn't be kicking horses anyway. but we're not going to beat on the same drum over and over. By now, I think we all see the issues, and the good news is so many of them Tony Khan can fix. But it starts with the fundamentals, the foundation. The very first thing that you have to change, and then, and only then, will everything else follow suit in lockstep. And Mox just gave Tony Khan literally the golden card. All he's got to do is swipe it, and it's instant access to a better AEW. And it's simplistic. Just take a step back. Breathe, take a step back, and start doing things correctly. It's everything BC has been saying for months. Let's get more specific. This is what Mox said recently in an interview, and I quote, AEW, it's only 5 years old. You start with 2 hours of TV. That's one thing. Then it's 3. then it's 5. Now it's a different thing. If you don't have the infrastructure to support it, you fall to the level of your systems. If the branch pops out of the dirt before it's ready, it will not have the structural integrity to hold the fruit that it bears. I think we've maybe gotten things out of order. Crawl, walk, run. Maybe we went from a certain cadence of walk and tried to jump. End quote. BC, that's a lot of word salad. Can you break it down? Yes. What he is telling you in a Mox way, which I love. Only Mox can give it to you like that. What he's telling you is exactly what BC has been telling you for months. Tony Khan has tried to do way too much, way too soon, way more than just a little bit. A lot of bit. He tried to run before he could even crawl. He tried to be WWE when he was just trying to give everybody, tell everybody, show everybody what his AEW is. Before he was even able to present what AEW is, its identity, he tried to be WWE. He tried to talk about how he's already competition. He tried to secure multiple primetime shows. Why not make Dynamite something special? Why not get everybody talking about Dynamite? Why not have a consistently good Dynamite show? Why not consistently get more than 1 million viewers on Dynamite? No. The second Dynamite went live, he started thinking about Rampage. So now you have 2 shows that are not there yet. A lot of people looked at both. Dynamite at least was better than Rampage, but they were looking at mid-AF shows. So then when both were struggling in the ratings, Tony Khan thought it was a good idea to get a 3rd show, Collision. You say, BC, the network was asking for it most likely. You have to step up and say, I'm not going to have a show or a product or a company if you want a 3rd show. Khan is doing all of these things average instead of doing one thing correctly. When Dynamite is still trying to find itself, he brings in Rampage. When Rampage is struggling in the ratings and struggling to get numbers and viewership, his answer is bring in a 3rd show, Collision. More. You're struggling in the ratings, you're struggling for viewership, and you think another show is going to help you? When is enough enough? When is too much? Exactly that. Too much. You got to remember, even if you're looking at WWE as the model to do things, which obviously Tony Khan is doing, he's just trying to rush everything. Well, then Tony Khan should have saw that SmackDown came into existence well after Raw was established. SmackDown came years later. But Tony Khan was too quick to just try to become the next WWE or the best and biggest competition for Vince, that he blinded himself. He started running before the company even crawled out of the gate. And it's not just the shows, right? It's the venues. You guys got to remember when Raw first came into existence, where was Vince McMahon holding his shows? The Manhattan Center. This little tiny venue. You can't even have a tennis match there. It's too small. Maybe badminton. I don't even think pickleball. That's how tiny the Manhattan Center was. But man, it was lively. It was a fun atmosphere. And Vince knew he was cementing his feet to the ground, right? Cement and establish yourself. When it's time and when you have built yourself properly, uncement those feet and start walking. But the Manhattan Center served for Raw's venue every single week before Vince was going on the road. WCW guys, before Nitro, just establishing what WCW even is. Remember their Saturday night shows? They were from like Universal Studios. It was a small venue. I still remember the rotating ring, but they were in a little studio every single Saturday night. That was their big flagship show back then. ECW, don't get me started. I don't know if they have ever left their little bingo hall, right? The ECW 2300 arena. And people were fine with it. They loved it. You could have an arena full of 15,000 fans. If they're all sleeping, If you could hear a pin drop with 15,000 fans, then does it matter that you sold 15,000 tickets? No. Because most people at home especially would rather be watching 200 to 300 people having the time of their lives fully amplified. Asses not even touching their seats during the entire show. That's why ECW was so awesome. Small venues. And stay there until you're established. But Tony Khan just said, nope, we want it all right now. Right from the gate, we're going to add as many shows as we possibly can, as many as the networks will allow us. We're going to go to every arena, skip all the small venues. We're going to go to big arenas if we need to tarp a section or two. Oh, well. But a section or two turned into a whole quarter or two, an entire half an arena. 3/4 now is how bad it's gotten. To the point where now Tony Khan is forced to downsize. Starting already and going into 2025, they're downsizing to smaller venues. That is a great thing, and I am glad that Tony Khan is admitting that he was wrong, sees his faults, and is correcting them. That is the mark of a true leader, and hopefully he will remain such. Continue to make calls like that. Because he had to downsize. There was no other way. And Mox is 1,000,000,000% correct. You start with 2 hours of TV, then it goes to 3, then it's 5. Now it's a different thing. That's a quote. Now it's a different thing. That is so telling, right? When Mox first got to AEW, you know they were all sold that AEW is this alternative. It's going to be this thing. And Mox tells you right here, out of nowhere, snap of a finger, and I quote, now it's a different thing. He's telling you that this is an AEW he's not even familiar with. This is not the AEW that he showed up to and put on his back 85 billion times. Stepped up when this company really needed him to. CM Punk on the shelf or an MJF. Who are they saying? Mox, when he was about to go on vacation. Mox, can you come back, please, man? We need you. And Mox was like, sorry, Renee. I got to go to work. I got to step up for Tony Khan in AEW. That was Mox. And people still to this day shit on Mox. They don't like anything he does. I don't know. There's a disconnect. I look at Mox and I go, damn, he's the real deal. This dude lives and breathes this, and he is going to try to make it as best as it possibly can be. And he's going to give you everything that he has. That is such respect. Now, if it's just not clicking with the audience, which obviously it's not, it seems like anything he does isn't clicking, then that's the fans' prerogative. You know, there's not much you can change there, but it's not through lack of effort, because Mox is absolutely trying to give you everything he has. But when he says it's different, it's a different thing now. He's telling you that AEW, man, he reiterates, right? Go to the end. Crawl, walk, run. Maybe we went from a certain cadence of walk and we tried to jump. He says, I think maybe we've gotten things out of order. What's he telling you, man? Read between. He's telling you right out. You ain't got to read between. It doesn't take Inspector Gadget. He's telling you this is not the same AEW I signed up to. He said we tried to do too much and we have gotten things out of order. It's a different thing. These are his quotes. So this is where Tony Khan has to now understand this. I feel like he's already starting to. He's downsizing. One of his big locker room leaders is stepping up and saying this publicly. This is where you take it back. One of those shows has to get canceled. Collision, Rampage, I think it should be Rampage. I don't know many people that are still watching and actually excited. I'm sure there are fans that are. Much love and respect. But the numbers are showing you that it's a very fragile show right now. And at some point, you just got to say enough. It's sad. It's depressing keeping it on the air for most. So I think Rampage, you get rid of that. You make Collision, if you're going to keep a second show, you make Collision more special. And then your flagship Dynamite, man, you have to really make it a appointment television, must see. Not just, oh, I have time, I guess I'll see TV. Must see. But a show has to be canceled right off the get out. You have to talk with your networks and say, listen, you're not going to have a brand or a company to air anymore if we keep this third show. It is killing the company. So you move down the venues, you downsize, you go to smaller venues. Looks like it's already happening. You get rid of one of these shows. Unfortunately, we're not hearing that that's officially happening. We're hearing that word was they were talking about it. No more talk. Now it's action. Just do it. Get it out of the way. Rampage, thanks for coming. It was a good run. Not so much. Das Boot. Downsizing. Step 1. Step 2, get rid of one of those shows. Step 3, downscale your roster. You have nearly 200 individuals. Before you made AEW something elaborately special, you started ROH. You're doing all these other shows and pay-per-views with Japan, and you're over here. All of your attention, it's spread out everywhere. Make AEW special, man. You got your hands in every cookie jar. The problem is there's so many cookie jars, you only got 2 hands. One Dynamite, one Collision. That's it. That's all you need to be focused on. Japan can hold off for now. No more talent coming in. Don't work with anybody right now. Stop signing everybody. And I do mean everybody. Stop. Downsize your venues. Downscale your roster. Alleviate your show load. Get one of them right out. I feel it should be Rampage. These are, I guess, they're big steps, but they're simplistic in the overall grand scheme of it all. In totality, these are actually simplistic. These are just all operational measures. The hard work is going to be presenting storylines that your audience is going to care about, and get your audience that has already left, try getting them back, because that's what you're going to need, casuals and lapsed fans. The tried and true diehards that you have now but are no longer excited, like we see showing up at the shows. They love AEW, but they're just not excited, so they're sitting on their ass the entire show, golf clap every now and again. You don't even hear that many "This is awesome" chants anymore because they're so desensitized to it all. It's all run-of-the-mill redundancy. They're not even passionate enough to start yelling "This is awesome," which was what you were hearing every single match for nearly 3 years. Maybe the whole 5-year run of AEW. Over in the E, too, by the way. It's nauseating. Not everything is awesome. Stop. We need a new chant. Several new chants. But it doesn't matter, because these fans don't even show up to even care enough to chant. That's a problem. That's your core audience. You have to get them to care again. That's the hard work. The hard work is getting your audience back, getting the ones you have to care again, and reignite that passion and that fuel and that amplification. Getting storylines that we care about. Character trajectories that are badass, and we want to invest into the characters. That's the hard work. Operational? Snap of a finger. That takes some boardroom meetings, some telecalls with Turner Network, Warner Bros. Discovery, whichever you want to have those conversations with. You say X, Y, and Z is why these moves have to be made. But the operational changes, that needs to happen now. And then you really sink your teeth into everything that needs to be done creatively. But Mox is 1,000,000,000% right. We tried to run before we crawled. Now AEW is a completely different thing than when he got there. He says, and I quote, "I think we've gotten things out of order." Mox, you know, many things are out of order. I'm glad that a locker room leader is stepping up and saying that, because you're not getting that from Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho will go out there in these interviews and he'll start talking about AEW is the best in the world. It's where the best wrestle. It's where the best wrestlers are. Ratings are actually good. I don't know what everybody's talking about. I'm still a demo god. My segments are the best in wrestling. You hear boos when I'm out there, but they really love me. Chris Jericho is going to give you all the jazz, right? He wants to be the vice president of Tony Khan, right? Analogy there. But Mox doesn't give a damn. He doesn't care about being a vice president or next in line or carrying the company's tote bags. He's not going to shine up Tony Khan's shoes. He just wants the best possible product for the AEW fans. So if you're going to do that, you have to be real, right? You have to address the real concerns and the real issues and the real problems. everything that this channel was founded upon years ago when we started it. That's why we don't sugarcoat, we don't BS. Because if you want the best possible wrestling product, you have to be honest. We have to be honest in these discussions. We could say that every one of these shows is awesome and talk nothing but positivity, but we're not getting anywhere. We'll just get more of the redundancy and the lame booking and the poor booking and the shitty booking. More people will stop watching, and wrestling will be on life support even worse than it already is. So no, we don't have any more time to BS. So they can call us negative. They can say that we're toxic in the community because we're just trying to call all this out to fix it. But in reality, it will be those fans that are the most toxic because they're allowing this to happen and they're nurturing this lame, repetitive, shitty booking. That's going to be the hard work. Operational change, all that. Creatively, character trajectory, storylines we care about, all of that. The look, the feel of Dynamite, Collision, and AEW in totality. It needs a complete rehaul. Go back. Doesn't matter if the optics look like you're waving the white flag and you're accepting defeat. You're not. You're getting yourself better implemented for the battle that hopefully does come with WWE. Hopefully you can truly be real competition. But you're never going to be if you're acting like it. Because people will see through the charade. The whole facade. And that's what it's like right now. Tony Khan always just wanted to be like Vince, right? The next Vince. And just because he had all of Papa Khan's money, right? He's got all the money and he's got some good wrestlers around him. He's like, I'm already competition. He found out quickly that's not how it works. You have to sustain yourself. He should have learned, actually, from Eric Bischoff's mistakes in WCW. 83 weeks Bischoff was beating WWF. They thought they were going to put him out of business. He started to get too smug. He thought his shit don't stink. He thought he was going to keep whooping him. No, it's a marathon, not a sprint in the long run, and Vincent Kennedy ended up whooping Eric Bischoff's ass so badly that WCW went out of business. Vince bought WCW. And Eric Bischoff is podcasting. It's amazing how that works. Don't get ahead of yourself. Crawl first, then run. Mox is absolutely correct. It's constructive criticism from one of Tony Khan's own locker room leaders. I hope he takes it. If he doesn't want to take it from BC, who's been saying this for months, we could have solved this months ago. But if he doesn't want to take it from BC, then maybe he will from Mox. That's what I got for you guys, man. Great discussions, as always, in today's Amped Upload. I thank you guys so much for joining in on the discussions. We're not done this weekend, not by a long shot. We got SmackDown's review coming up within the next 24 hours. Make sure you're subscribed, notified, smash the up, all the things down below if you don't mind. Show that support to the channel. Channel members, much love and appreciation. You guys know that. Top tier. Amplified status. And also Sunday, maybe we can talk some Full Gear Sunday, or maybe it'll have to wait till Monday. But just stay locked on the channel. There's a lot more content still to come this weekend, so by no means are we done. But we are wrapping up another week on the channel, and you guys made it another very special week. Amped Up Friday, November 22, 2024. It is in the books. Until next time, and there will be that next time. BC in the unit saying check you. Peace. Salute.